How's everyone doing after a Padres series win? Some good stuff today from you, Darvish. Isaac Chase, I don't know if you guys saw, I tweeted out, but the Padres have now won a series averaging basically a run and a half and another series averaging 2 runs. So, talking about the starting pitching, it's been unbelievable. Darvish, outside of the Giants start and then his last start, I'm forgetting who was it, the Braves. Yeah, the Braves start. He's been money this year. So another great performance by him. Little to no offense is definitely a concern. Luke Voigt striking out a lot, another concern, but he looked pretty good today, and he should have had a home run when you look at kind of the advanced analytics of the launch angle, the exit velocity, stuff like that. So hopefully he's coming around. Kind of wondering what you guys think about Grisham. Some people are really feeling like he's about to turn the corner. Isaac, you and I were talking about it last night with Friar Phil, but it's tough to believe in it because his numbers have been so awful. But he has been hitting the ball harder. I feel like he's connecting a lot more. But I think there's a lot of things to take away from this series. So, Isaac Chase, so what are you guys kind of feeling right now with this team?
Feeling pretty good. I mean, they just won another series, so especially considering those are two good teams, even if their records don't indicate it. The Phillies are a top five. I believe they're a top five offense in baseball right now, so they're definitely performing in that aspect. Of course, their bullpen's not very good, and their starting pitching's not very good, but I mean, we shut them out twice, and the bullpen was fantastic. I shouldn't even say the bullpen. I should say 5 starters and 2 relievers were fantastic. So a lot of props to those guys, and we didn't put up that many runs, but got the job done. We knew what we were going to be coming into the season. I honestly question why it might be so much of a surprise, because everyone still says, "Oh, we need offense so bad. We need offense so bad." No, we knew how we were going to win games. We're going to win games on the back of our pitching and putting up a couple runs, just playing small ball. I honestly don't remember the last time we hit a home run. Anybody?
It was maybe the Voigt home runs.
It's been a long time.
I think it was the Voigt home runs.
That's what I was thinking too.
It was a couple days ago, so we haven't hit a home run in years.
Yeah,
and we're still winning.
Yeah.
Atlanta, yeah.
Voigt the other night should have had one. When you look at the statistics,
what
was it? He had 105 exit velo, 22-degree launch angle. I feel like last year that's a guaranteed home run, like almost 10 out of 10 times.
I know. I think it was
this year. You hit 105 mile an hour. Like I thought the golden ratio was like 95 to 100 miles an hour exit velo and like 20-degree launch angle, and it's a guaranteed home run. I thought that was like the golden ratio there. And dude, that's just ridiculous. If you hit it 105 miles an hour, that ball should be out 9 times out of 10. And it didn't even go 330 feet. So I don't even know if it would go out even if it was directly pulled. Other than that, it's hard to say with Grisham. He's striking out a little less, but he's still not doing too good. Machado's fine. Eric Hosmer's kind of gone a little cold compared to where he was. I know the last couple of games he's either had 1 or 2 hits out of like 9 at-bats, but he'll be fine. Profar, it's kind of come down to earth after his hot streak at the beginning of the season. Myers is just going to continue doing his thing. He's going to go back to his career average. I don't know what to think about Cano. I'm okay with him getting at bats, especially considering Cronenworth is also struggling. So I'm fine with that. Voigt, he's either going to hit or he's going to strike out 4 times a game. It kind of feels like Giancarlo Stanton when he first went on to the Yankees. It was either this guy's going to strike out 4 times, wear the golden sombrero like 2 times in a row, and then hit a couple home runs, and then everyone's going to be like, oh my God, he's back, and then strike out again. Kim has been the best hitting shortstop by WRC plus, and I don't know what to think about Nola. Nola's just kind of, he's going to make weak contact, but sometimes get on base. So we add everything up, it equals Tatis needs to come back quickly, and we need some offense because we're not going to win every game off pitching. I mean, we've had some timely hitting, but we're not going to win every game off pitching.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You bring up Nola and Isaac. I think it was in our group chat. You sent a quote the other day, and I think it was just like about the Padres kind of like, yeah, they're not super bought into Austin Nola being like their future catcher, even like the answer there, like they were when they traded for him, and basically said like the trade has been a disappointment. Like that was basically what the quote was, is that they've kind of accepted that at this point, which is rough because you look at that deal and it's looking really, really bad. Now we've talked about it a bunch, but I think that in terms of catching, they're probably just going to rock with Alfaro and Nola this year. But the future of, we have really no idea. I would like to see Campy get some reps. I know there's been a lot of discussion, and like we've talked about it quite a bit, of like younger guys not getting opportunities. I also saw some people saying like, hey, if the pitching doesn't feel confident with Campy behind the plate, like they were saying, I don't think it makes sense to keep him, like to move him to the MLB and have him catch, because that's what this team is trying to win off, especially his pitching, where their thought was like, yeah, he might be absolutely raking in AAA and putting up great offensive numbers, but this still might hurt the team having him catch guys if they don't want him to catch guys. And we were even talking about it when Snell came in, that Snell was shaking off a lot of pitches with Alfaro behind the plate. So there is still value in terms of Nola and how he affects the starting rotation, but offensively he's been pretty terrible. A lot of soft contact, a lot of pop outs. You do see the natural ability to make contact with the baseball, but he's sure not driving the baseball really in any capacity. So it's been frustrating there. It reminds, I mean, not really Grisham. Grisham also has like doesn't have a lot of hard contact problem. The difference is that Grisham also strikes out, I feel like, way more than Nola does. Just looking kind of at the eye test, I don't know if numbers will back that up, but it's been tough in terms of some of these guys. But we're looking at this team, and they have a fantastic record. They're one of the better teams in the league to start the year. And they, like you said, they don't have Fernando Tatis. We talked about the impact of having him back, what it'll mean for guys like Cronenworth. So I think that's where the big thing is like, okay, you're going to get him back, and please trade for an outfield bat. If you're able to do that, and you have a combination of Grisham, Myers, and Profar for 2 outfield spots, and then you have an everyday outfield starter in either left or right, whichever, or center, wherever you go, that makes the outfield significantly better. That makes this team a lot better. We've also talked about what are you going to do with Kim when Tatis comes back. And I know I think it was Steve Robinson basically said, when he comes back, you have 5 guys playing for 4 spots. I think, 5 guys playing for 4 spots. And you look at it, you're like, okay, that actually might be able to work out. Like, these guys are going to be almost everyday starters. And maybe if, like, I just think, like, it would help so much if, like, Kim or Cronenworth or someone would just pop out to the outfield, like, once a week, twice a week. I think that would help a lot with just kind of how the playing time works. But even if you split playing time between those 4 guys, or those 5 guys being Kim, Tatis, keep in mind he is coming back. He's probably not going to play every single day. But you have Kim, Tatis, Cronenworth, Hosmer, and Voit basically vying for the right side, shortstop, right side of the infield, and DH. I think that actually breaks down pretty well. So I think the hitting is going to improve as the season goes on. But this is a team that's in a good spot to go make a move at the deadline and be in a really good spot post-deadline. I think it's going to take some time to see them actually move for an outfielder, but I've been really happy with what they've been able to do so far. They win almost every series. I mean, that's pretty incredible to see, I think, early on. So I've been very happy, and the pitching staff deserves all of the praise in the world, because starting pitching is nasty. It is so nasty. So I'm pretty pumped about this team right now.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick them apart. I don't really see a reason to, other than the bullpen. Can you imagine if this bullpen was even a mid-tiered bullpen? They'd probably have an extra 3 or 4 wins right now. They'd have the best record in the league behind the best record in the National League, the second best record in the league behind the Yankees, if the bullpen was even mediocre. And they're not right now. We only have 6 guys in there. So initially, what we thought was going to be a strength going into the season is our weakness. And when people come back, it'll become one of our strengths, hopefully. And maybe we'll see a trade for an arm. I'm almost going to guarantee we'll see a trade for a catcher, because he's an amazing catcher, but not amazing. He doesn't throw people out enough for me to say he's an amazing catcher. He's amazing at all of the other aspects. Jorge Alfaro gives you the most upside at the plate, but not really good behind the plate. I mean, we don't really have a catcher that we're too confident in at the plate. Whereas Alfaro, like, I don't know what his OPS is. It's like it's in the 700s, I believe. But I almost guarantee we're gonna look into trading for a particular catcher, Wilson Contreras. And I sent you guys that quote about Austin Nola. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on board either. I'm not giving up on him. It's just he's what we thought he was going to be. I don't pick apart trades. I don't like to, not no more. I don't like to go too deep into trades and be like, oh man, this guy got away or this guy sucks. But this is the one that bothers me the most. That one bothers me. Because he gave up so much for Austin Nola, who didn't have a good track. I mean, he had a small track record, an injury history, like doesn't have a good arm. I felt like it was all in the scouting report. You could have just seen it from a mile away that it wasn't going to work out. At the time, he put together good at bats, and at the time, he came to us with a high average, and we just haven't been able to see that from him. But yeah, going back to the starting pitching, you brought up the starting pitching. We got 7 starting pitchers right now, and they went the way that we thought they were going to go. They went with the piggyback in the back end of their rotation. It worked to perfection. I know, Blake Snell struggled, but first start back, it's quite honestly an outing I would expect from Blake Snell. Not, allowing 3 runs, whatever he allowed, but a lot of pitches in small inning in a little bit of innings. I mean, that's Blake Snell's game most of the time. It's a lot of pitches in like 4 or 5 innings. We know that's his game. So, I mean, that's essentially what we're going to get from him quite a few times. But other than that, they've been fantastic. This is honestly a really good team. I think a lot of people, especially Padres fans, look at our schedule and they're like, oh man, they're going to struggle. But I don't think you guys understand that when other teams see us on our schedule, they honestly think the same thing. Like, we're a really good team, and I think people underestimate that, especially our fans.
Yeah, I know. I tend to be more negative about the team, especially the bats, because, scoring 1 to 2 runs a game, it's 1, boring, and 2, realistically, if your hitting pitcher does not go 7 innings in a 2-run, 1-run game, the Padres are probably going to lose because of their bullpen right now. I mean, you have 2 guys that are technically in the bullpen right now just because they're piggybacking off starters. And, this was another thought I happened to have just because Snell struggled. So, Snell was on the road, and he struggled. Are we going to see this continue again this year where Snell is just going to be amazing at home and then struggles on the road tremendously? Are we going to see that again, or are we going to see a more consistent Blake Snell? But, yeah. And, Isaac, I checked. Alfaro's OPS is currently under 700. It's at 672.
Okay.
So both catchers are hitting under a 700 OPS. Nola, I think, is barely at 600. He's like 601. I think we have 3 guys with over 700 OPS right now. That is Kim, that is Machado, and that is Hosmer. Profar finally fell down to he's under 700. Myers is the next highest after Profar because he's almost at 600, slowly coming back after his hot start from there. Don't know where Cano's going to be because realistically he's old. I don't know how many at-bats he's really going to get. I don't know where that situation is going to go with Cronenworth because I know Cronenworth has been struggling pretty hard. I don't know what we're going to do with Grisham because we don't really have another center fielder. Is Azokar still on the roster? Jesus, come on, man. Stop, please. Is Azokar still on the roster?
I'm not sure. Is he? Yeah.
Yeah. we haven't seen him in the past 3 games, so it looks like they've given up on that experiment. As much as I love Profar in left field just because he throws guys out, he's not the bat that we need in left field. We need a legitimate, at least one more legitimate outfielder before we can go, yeah, you know what? This guy's okay in the outfield because it's good defense. When we only have 2 guys bringing good defense and an average outfielder in right, you're going to come through some struggles where you're not scoring any runs just because Hosmer or Machado have an off night because Voigt's still not there. Kim is hit and miss. Well, if Kim is on the road, apparently Kim will hit. Kim at home apparently is not so good. But yeah.
So I was thinking about Snell a little bit. I wanted to bring this up because, Chase, you're bringing up all the averages, the lack of offense, and you said that if a starter doesn't go 7 innings, basically if a starter doesn't have a quality start, then this team's in a bad spot because there's not many bullpen options. Good way to counter that is definitely the piggyback. I mean, the piggyback worked awesome, but then you have the problem with Snell. Snell definitely struggled. I think I texted you guys after the first at bat yesterday, and I said, "Oh no, it's this Blake Snell today. Oh no," because you can tell immediately. You go, "Oh no, he can't find the zone," and he'll just be completely wild. Do you think there's a chance? Okay, this is with Snell, but also just because I feel like we've seen how they've had success, and it's starters going deep in the games. But do you think there's a chance that Snell could get moved to the bullpen if he continues to struggle and Gore continues to look so good where they're like, we don't want to do a 6-man rotation, and Gore has clearly been a better pitcher than Snell, a couple months into the year? I feel like it could happen. I don't think it would happen now, but maybe down the road.
I would say no. Only because Blake Snell has already built his reputation as a starter, and even he will struggle. We know that. Numbers generally show that he struggles before the All-Star break. Outside of his Cy Young season, that's normally what happened. That's what happened last year, and then I don't know, something clicked for him. But like I said, that was the first start. I don't want to get too much out of it. I just think he's gonna be a starter. I think he's gonna be the 5 like the whole year because. Darvish, outside of 2 starts, has been immaculate. He's been amazing. Manaea has been rock solid. He's basically the guy he was in Oakland. He's just been rock solid. Musgrove is our ace. Mike Clevenger, only in 3 starts, he looks like Mike Clevenger. So, I don't know. I just think that right now Blake Snell's going to stick at the number 5, and he's going to keep seeing starter reps just because he's built that reputation as a starter. We know what we can get out of Blake Snell. It's a matter of can we get that consistently out of Blake Snell rather than, a start here and there. He'll be absolutely disgusting. And then another start, he'll struggle to find the zone and he'll only go 4 innings and throw 100 pitches in those 4 innings. So it just depends on what kind of Snell we get. Like I said, I think he's going to stay a starter the whole year. He's going to be the starter. Maybe they do go in a 6-man rotation. And I've said it before. I've said it multiple times already. We're going to see Gore or Martinez start a game here soon because there's still 37 games in the next 39 days. So they're going to start. But yeah, I think Snell's going to stay as a starter. And as for right now, we're still going to see Gore come out of the bullpen. And Gore clearly not enjoyed that role, but fulfilled that role perfectly.
Yeah, I think Gore's going to stay in the bullpen for at least the next month. Just because we've mentioned it before, him to go over, I think, was it? Did the same thing with Paddock his rookie year, but Paddock was coming off of Tommy, which was a little more understandable. But I'm pretty sure they don't want to have Mackenzie Gore get like a finger blister and miss a significant amount of time. Plus, they don't want to overthrow him in his rookie year, so he's not going to make every single start. They're going to use him in the bullpen more like they have been. He may occasionally make a spot start in case anyone, goes down or needs like an extra week of rest instead of going on the IL because it's now 15 days instead of 10 days. That means you'd miss 2 starts. So unless they, just flop around like that, Mackenzie Gore will make a spot start occasionally. But yeah, no. Snell has the pedigree of being a starter. We saw what he did in July, August of last year, and that was the best pitcher on the team by far, and that was probably the best pitcher in the league by far. Snell is coming off an injury. He's going to have his mechanics tweaked and everything. He's probably going to watch film. Hopefully, it's not trouble with the changeup and trouble with the mechanics again like he did last year. Last year, it was, he had a less effective changeup, and his mechanics, when he was coming apart right here, he was waiting too long, therefore causing his arm to drag, therefore causing everything to just stay above the strike zone, kind of be wild, can't keep anything down. Yeah. Well, if it is that, he knows how to make the adjustment, obviously. Hopefully he can do it quickly. But yeah, Snell, he's a Cy Young winner. He has the pedigree of being a starter. You're not going to take him out of the starting role. That's just kind of crazy. All we can hope is, yeah, he's struggled to command this last outing. He fixes it. Maybe has an occasional bad start like every starter does, but continues to ride a good streak. Plus, he's the Dodger killer. We want him to be ready for the Dodgers and not just, go 3 innings because he's been in the bullpen for so long. Gotta let him start.
Yeah, and I also wouldn't advocate for them making any, adjustments right now. I just kind of wonder, if we're into August and Gore's look good and he's not going to hit 120 and Snell's struggling a lot, if they could flirt with that idea. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. I want to see Snell dominate. I want to see him look like he did last year. At the end of last year, when all those mechanics got cleaned up, when he was throwing the changeup good, I don't know. I mean, I think that we've talked about it too. Snell is the ultimate big game pitcher of, I'm just gonna kind of screw around throughout the season. Oh, it's time to turn it on. Let's turn it on. Let's go. And I feel like that you've kind of seen that, especially just because his performance in the postseason as well. His numbers speak for himself. He's been great. World Series Game 6, that kind of stuff. Where that's why he's been so good. That's why he's so highly regarded. And he had the Cy Young year where he was fantastic. So I think it's tough, but I do think that they should continue to give him a lot of opportunities to be a starter. I also think yesterday's game, I wasn't expecting him to go out there and be fantastic. Same thing with Clev. First couple games, I'm not going to say Clev looked bad or anything. I think he had some good moments, but I thought his most recent outing on Monday, he looked a lot better. I thought that was a big improvement. So I think it's going to take some time whenever guys are coming back from injury. This is a thing that happens to Fernando, too. Fernando, last year when he came back off the IL, almost every time, first game, he would go ballistic. He hit a home run or he hit 2 home runs and he'd have a monster game. And then he would slump for 2 weeks after that. It was the same pattern of okay, you come back and it takes a little while to get back in, I don't know, in your routine, I guess. But I do think it'll take some time with him. I also see Rat Boy King said I just got the notification that the stream started. If you guys haven't, hit the bell. I think it'll pop up whenever we post a video or the notification comes up. I don't know why you get it so late. That's weird. 20 minutes in. But I do think that you can do that, and I think it'll pop up for whenever we post something or make whatever it is, any kind of post or video or live stream. I see some people also talking about the Giants game, the Giants series in the chat. Isaac, you said we got Mania Musgrove and Mike Kinsey Clev-Gore against San Francisco. Dude, that's the best starter right there in the league, right?
Mackenzie Cleven-Gore. Mackenzie Cleven-Gore. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm pretty confident going into that series. You look at their matchup. I don't know who Junis is, but Rodon started off the season fantastic, and ever since his ERA has ballooned. I believe it's either 3.49 or 3.94 now. So, I mean, that's a good sign for us. And typically what sucks for the Padres is that guys that are struggling or guys coming off an injury or something like that, their bounce back game is typically against the Padres. That's basically what happened. I forgot who pitched for the Phillies in the first game. Zach Eflin? Bro, that dude was solid. That dude was really good for that game. But yeah, man, that's kind of unfortunate for us. But like I said, you got to go just based off the numbers. And lately, Rodon has struggled. And if one of you guys could pull up the stats of his past couple starts, I'd appreciate that. But who's the last guy? Alex Wood? I think that's going to be the next guy, the last guy we face, and that's going to be Mike Clevenger and Mackenzie Gore. So I'm feeling confident in those last two matchups, especially. What's up? Chase got it, right?
So I just have his last start because I remember this specifically because it was versus the Cardinals, and this is when Pujols pitched. Rodon went 3.2 innings, 10 hits, 8 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts.
That's like the Darvish start against the Giants. Yeah, he got destroyed. Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. Good for us. So, I'm feeling really confident in those last 2 games. And, of course, I feel confident in Manaea. I'm always going to feel confident in Manaea. I just don't know who that Junis guy is. So, and he's probably only made like a start or 2, right? Or is that going to be like a bullpen game for them? I don't know who he is. Jay Junis.
He is a starter. He's pitched 4 games, has 20 innings, 18 strikeouts, or basically 21 innings, 18 strikeouts, a .97 whip. He has over 500 innings in the MLB. It looks like he's having a little bit of a breakout year. I don't know how much stock to take into that, just because, if you look at his career average in 536 innings, he has a 4.7 ERA, but this year he has under a 2 all of a sudden. But then, Desclafani and Kevin Gossman went to Giants and became gods. So I really don't know what to do with this. I don't know whether to take it with a grain of salt, or he's just in the second wind of his career that the Giants always happen to find players for. But I saw someone say that Manaea is an automatic L. Don't disrespect Sean Manaea like that. Just because we can't hit when he pitches, he's still great.
His Brave start was fucking beautiful, dude. It was so good. 7 innings, just he threw amazing. That was honestly the best game I thought was pitched out of the Padres that pitched that series. That was the best one. He did so good. And you're right, Chase. We didn't give him enough run support. Actually, we blew that game.
That's right. We did blow that game.
That's the one we blew. We blew that game. I think it was like a 3-run lead. So that sucks for Manaea. But wins and losses, not really a pitcher stat. Yeah, it's not an important stat. I won't look at that. When do you start playing Cano over Crone?
No, don't do that.
Never,
don't do that.
Never. I mean, it happened today. You gotta sit a guy who's slumping. I mean, I think that's inevitable. So yeah, I think it was just an off day for Crone to, I don't know, get his mind right or something. But something needs to happen.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think about the Juan Soto trade? Let me find it. I doubt it would be this straight up for each other. But would you give up either of those guys? Or if you had to give up one, which one would you give up?
Abrams,
yeah.
Okay, well, we're all on the same boat there. I'm like, I'm not giving up Gore anymore. I'm like, no, Gore has to stay.
Yeah, and
but would you do it for 2 years of Soto?
That exact one? Or just Abrams?
Not this exact one. I mean, you're Abrams and probably another top, if not 2 top 5 prospects are going to be involved in that. So would you do it for 2 years of Soto?
So we gotta have a segment on this tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to talk about this tomorrow. So we'll talk about the full trade stuff, but I do want to bring it up because I see like a bunch of people are bringing it up in the chat too. Dude, it doesn't make any sense to trade for him. It doesn't. If you I'm gonna tell you guys right now because I feel like we've seen this. We've seen this too many times. If the Padres go and trade for Juan Soto, they're gonna have to give up both Abrams and Gore, right? If you're the Nationals, there is no way you're gonna accept that if those 2 guys are not both in the deal. There's no reason to. They're probably also gonna have to get rid of Hassel and then a bunch of other guys. Like they're gonna have to trade. Like it's gonna be one of the biggest amounts of prospect capital ever traded if Juan Soto gets traded, ever in the history of the sport. It might end up being the biggest amount. The Padres have no future starting pitching. They have like none. So if you trade Mackenzie Gore, what's going to happen in 2 years if Soto walks? Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. Soto's going to walk because the Padres are going to be in shambles, and we'll know where he's going to end up going.
He's gonna go to LA, bro.
Exactly. So don't do it. Don't do it. Compete in the open market and try to sign him in 2 years. I don't think that, because you're going to have to give up everything, and then you're going to be in a spot where he's like, why would I stay here? This team doesn't have young people to build, like young guys to build around. They don't have any starting pitching. So I don't know. I don't think it makes that much sense. Like, I also think that this team we've seen what they're built on. Okay, and I also want to say, like, would adding Juan Soto help? Fuck yes, it would help.
Yeah.
It'd be insane. Like, of course, right? But you're gonna have to give up everything. You're gonna have to sell the future. You're you're selling everything for him. So I don't want to trade for him. Like, it, as hard as that is to say, because you're gonna give up all of the top guys. So it's tough for me to say to pull it.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on. I would love Juan Soto. And just, for anyone who knows me, I love offense. I love Juan Soto. I'm all in favor of trading for Juan Soto, but Abrams, Gore, and more does not sound very fun to give up. Now, I think the package would be something like Abrams, Campusano, Hassel, and like Weathers, and maybe another prospect. That is so much to give up. Now that he's not the best player in baseball. Now that he's the best hitter in baseball, not the best player in baseball. Now that kind of package, I would say, yeah. I mean, you're giving
I
up.
think Mike Trout's the best hitter in baseball. But
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. I definitely think Mike Trout is still the best player in baseball. The next is probably Shohei Ohtani. But if it's a package like Abrams, Hassel, Weathers, and Campy, you look at it and you think, okay, we have Crone, we got Kim, both to play second in the foreseeable future. Weathers has looked horrendous down in what is it, AA or AAA? He's looked horrible. So I don't even know if you can include him because his value is so immensely low that it's so hard to include him. Campusano hits nukes. Catching's not that great. Who's that? Hassel has a great hitting tool, was the best pure hitter in his class when it came to hitting. So that's a lot to give up already. And like I said, I'm in favor of giving those guys up for Juan Soto, but only if you can extend them. Only if you can extend them. If you get 2.5 years out of Juan Soto, and this is the Padres for anyone who doesn't know, we don't win World Series. Like, we don't have any reputation. We won one World Series game in our franchise. In our 50 plus years, we won one World Series game. If we didn't get a World Series in those 2.5 years, that would look like one of the dumbest trades in MLB history. Because why? He would go to the Dodgers or the Yankees next, and they would win a World Series with him. So though I'm in favor of it,
I got to interrupt you because you made me think of this, because I brought this up and I was talking to my roommate about this. I said, if the Padres trade for Juan Soto, they're going to be in an elimination playoff game. And I can see it. I can see this in my mind. The ESPN ticker of Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and Fernando Tatis combined for 0-12, and they lost. And it's going to be like, no. That's my problem. It's just, what about this? I got a counter, though, for you guys, because we've been bringing up like 2.5 years. What if you trade for Juan Soto and you extend him at the same time?
I would do it. Yeah. I mean, Chase.
With what money? With what money?
I think the luxury tax will just keep going up. But yeah, honestly, if by the end
we know how much the luxury tax is going to go up. Do we still have the money for it and to field the pitchers for next year?
By the end of the 2.5 years, we're pretty much in the thick of Tatis's contract. That's why it's so hard. That's why, like, it is so hard to envision a scenario where the Padres were able to re-sign him, because now you're in the thick. When it comes time, Tatis's contract $36 million a year, very soon, very, very soon. You're still 30 for Manny. You're still paying Hosmer. And if you want to extend, if Jake keeps it up, hopefully Jake does, because I'd love to have Jake around for the foreseeable future. Maybe you have the money, maybe. But if you want to sign Joe Musgrove, you probably will not have the money. And that's why I want to keep Joe Musgrove around, but you got to look at it from a different standpoint. You might not benefit
a lot of pitchers.
Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of pitchers. Like, if you sign Joe Musgrove You're giving up Mania, freaking guys. Who are we talking about? God damn it, he's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, Clevenger. Like you're losing so much. Just signing Joe Musgrove. And like I said, I want to keep Joe Musgrove for the foreseeable future, but we got to win a World Series like now, like this year. So that way we don't have to, because I mean, if Joe walks after we won a World Series, I'll be like, hey, bro, whatever. You already won. You're good. And then, that's
he
that.
brought a no-hitter in a World Series. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good, bro. Exactly.
You did your job for San Diego.
You've done what you can.
But
so. Oh, go ahead.
Hold up. So, do you guys remember the only trade that I know of that's going to be similar to trading for Juan Soto is, do you remember when the Dodgers traded for Trey Turner and Max Scherzer, how they gave up their number 1, their number 2, and like another top 10 prospect and more? That is going to be similar. So they'd have to give up Mackenzie Gordon. They'd have to give up Abrams. They'd probably have to give up Hassel and Woods. And you're going to have 3 pitchers that hit the market this year. You're going to have 3 pitchers that hit the market in 2 years. And you're going to have to extend Juan Soto. Who's going to pitch? Juan Soto can't pitch. And Juan Soto is not the best hitter in baseball. Stop discounting Mike Trout right now. Mike Trout's hitting 320 with over an 1100 OPS. Stop disrespecting that man. He's not the best hitter in baseball right now. Maybe in the future, but right now it's still Mike Trout. And we don't. So if we get Soto, we still don't have 2 solid outfielders, and you would trade possibly 1 or 2 outfielders of the future to get him. So you'd still rock with Grisham, who is a giant question mark, and then you'd have Profar still out there. No. It's a no. I much rather try to develop the talent or hit the free agent for someone cheaper. There are better options than trading for Juan Soto. It's a definite no.
Yeah, and I see people are saying, okay, let's see. Borna says the Dodgers can develop guys. That's a difference. That is super fair. However, the big takeaway from this offseason was that the Padres were more of, how about we completely revamp our coaching staff and our developmental system, and let's try to improve in that regard? And that's what we want. Like, that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see them make the effort into actually doing that. Let's see. Musgrove, 4 years, $50 million. No. Negotiations are starting 5 years, $100 million, I think. That's what my thought is, like the starting number. And I think it'll be more than that, potentially. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does for the rest of the year. I think it's right now, if that's what it was. I see Fat Sal is screaming down here that not screaming, but he said a few times Soto is hitting 250. That's true, but Soto also walks more than anyone in the league and hits absolute nukes. So his overall numbers are going to be good. He's never going to hit like crazy high average. I mean, but he's usually a 300 hitter at the end of the day. So
he finished second. What was it? Second in MVP voting last year. He should have. If you look at just the raw numbers, he probably should have been the MVP. Just hitting from a hitting standpoint. So yes, he's always going to be an amazing hitter. Like he's really good. That 250 does not speak volumes to how good of a hitter he is. Like I said, I'd love to have Juan Soto. Like I want Juan Soto so bad, and it just depends on how much you got to give up. Because Chase brought up that Max Scherzer trade. That was for half a year of Max Scherzer. This is for 2.5 years of Juan Soto.
And was it half a year of Trey Turner too? Because they had to extend him in the offseason.
Yeah. Well, did they already extend Trey?
They're probably in the process of it, but he's a free agent. Yeah. So it was 1.5 years of Trey and half a year of Scherzer.
Yeah. You're right. So essentially it'd be 2.5 years of one of the best hitters, top 3, top 5 hitters in baseball. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, you're going to have to give up a lot. And who knows? Maybe the Nationals will suck so bad that, they're just like, well, what the hell? What's the point of keeping around Juan Soto? Let's just – and you're going to have to give up Abrams. That's a given. That is almost certain, like the certain truth. And that's why I'm kind of like, why hasn't he taken outfield reps? And now it got me thinking, well, he hasn't taken outfield reps for a reason. That's all, because like I said it a few videos ago, I really do think one of Abrams, Kim, or Crone are going to be gone. Like, I don't think it's a guarantee, but if we get an outfielder, I think one of them will be a good outfielder. I think one of them will be in it. If it's like Benintendi or something like that, or Martinez, something like that, I don't think either of them will be in it. But we know AJ Preller goes for those home run trades. For those, I mean, he's tried for Jose Ramirez, he tried for Mookie Betts, he's tried for multiple guys that are top tier talents in baseball. So to say he's not going to go after Soto would be pretty preposterous. It's just I don't think he's going to land him.
Also, Chase, you brought this up. I see some Trout slander. Bill Gates.
Yeah, I know. I see it too.
You said Trout got blown away in the playoffs. Soto dominated the playoffs.
One playoff series.
He has like 15 playoff at bats. I don't know if I've ever brought this stat up on this show, but this is okay. To me, this is what proves that Mike Trout is the best baseball player ever. If we take all of Mike Trout's seasons, I think he's been in the league for like 9 years around. I think this is like his 10th season. He has 2 years where he hasn't played the full year. His rookie season and last season when he got injured. All of those years, he has been top 5 in MVP voting every single season. Only 2 of those years, he was not the MVP or the runner-up. 2 times. In his entire career of playing a full season, he has been top 5 every single year and is the best or the second best player in half of the league every single time. Babe Ruth, for reference, put up, I believe, 2 seasons. It's not many. It's like a couple seasons where he was either the MVP or the runner-up. It's not even close in comparison around the league of how dominant he is as a 5-tool player. So, Mike Trout, go. He's the go.
Yep.
He's also almost worth 3 WAR right now. He's at 2.7 already.
Yep.
For instance, if our MVP, I think, is somewhat similar, if not Manny Machado and Mike Trout are the same exact way right now.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Going back to Juan Soto.
No, Manny's still at 2.7.
Okay. It's an interesting proposal. I mean, I'm actually really surprised it got brought up because, I mean, I guess it makes sense considering right now is the most you can get out of Juan Soto for the Nationals. But it's just, if you want to build a future, you would think you want this guy to be your building block. And I mean, it feels like they're quite far out, unfortunately for them, but I don't know. I just think this was just brought up to spark up some speculation. I mean, we know how this goes for the Padres. We might get the guy. We're close to getting the guy. Ah, shit, we didn't get the guy. Basically what happened to Jose Ramirez, we had something in place, and then the dude took millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions less to stay in Cleveland. So, yeah, man, I don't know. That was why? Why?
That was the dumbest thing.
Bro? Like,
everybody wants to leave Cleveland, and he takes 100, or was it? It was 50 to 100 million less just to stay in Cleveland. God.
Yeah.
They must have some good coaches in Cleveland. That's all I got to say, man. I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. What else we got here, though? What else we got? I see people are okay. A couple other guys are being discussed trade stuff. We got earlier Laureano was talked about. JD Martinez was talked about. I know Borna loves JD Martinez. Also Conforto when he's. I don't know if Conforto's even. I don't know what his deal is. JD Martinez. I like the thought process of bringing in a good bat. I'm only concerned if he's actually going to be able to play in the outfield. But I think you can add a bunch of different guys that could come in and be a huge upgrade in the outfield. That's also why I don't think you have to go try to get a Soto, because this team is winning so much. Going all in with Soto for 1 year. I mean, I don't think it's going all in for 2 years either. I think it's going all in for 1 year because you have 3 starting pitchers that would leave if you traded for Soto and extended him also. Like, you're going all in this year, and that's a little scary. And we don't really talk about it much. I know one of the Padres podcasts that I listen to talks about it a lot. But if Fernando isn't all the way back and healthy, and you went all in on Soto, that'd be terrifying. So I'd rather go like a lower cost option and go try to get someone like that. But we talked about Benintendi a lot. Laureano, JD Martinez. What do you guys think about JD Martinez? We haven't talked about him a ton. I love the idea of adding in the bat, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to play enough outfield.
Yeah, that's my concern too. I love the idea of adding the bat. JD Martinez consistently one of the best hitters in baseball. But I mean, it's kind of hard to throw him out there in the outfield. You kind of just have to DH him, but we already have two guys who could DH that essentially play the same position, unfortunately. So, I mean, I really like the idea. I know he can play right field. He's just not very good at it. I don't know. I think it'd be a good trade, though. I think it would be a good pickup. If worse comes to, and there's going to be a lot of other teams that are going to go after him. Not only are they going to go after him, but they're probably more suited to have him around where they could just throw him in a DH role, whereas we essentially have to throw him in the outfield almost. But yeah, I know he can play right field. It's just a matter of he's probably going to play some horrible right field. So I'm not opposed to it. I think it'd be great to have in the lineup. This is a lineup that ranks, I believe, they fell down to 11th in runs. Maybe they go up. I don't think it got implemented after these 3 runs, but they'll only go up to like 9th or 10th. Still very low in OPS, still very low in average. Haven't hit a home run in a while. So, I mean, JD Martinez drastically changes that.
Yeah. And if you wanted to go for a more realistic outfield approach, you'd probably look at the Orioles. Have 2 guys, Mullins and Hayes. Mullins will probably be more expensive because, one, he plays a premium position in center field. He was worth $6.54 last season. I don't know if he's keeping it up this year. Let me check real quick. He's hitting 252 with 720 PS. Looks like he's come down back to earth compared to last season, but realistically, he could still always pick it up, and he would still probably be worth more than any other outfielder, plus because he can play such a good center field. And you could say 3 if you like Santander. We mentioned it earlier. It's kind of just like trading for another Will Myers right now. He hits about 250 with a 750 OPS. Realistically, the one guy I would go after right now is probably Austin Hayes from the Orioles. He plays left field, which would slot into a position of need. Right now, he's hitting 287 with over 800 OPS. He has a 767 career OPS and 867 at bats. Realistically, you'd probably slot in, be our best outfielder by a long shot. He'd play solid defense. He wouldn't be the most expensive outfielder on the team. You'd probably give up maybe a top 10 guy and a lower level prospect, but probably someone like 8 or 9. And he's 26, so you'd have him for another couple of years. I don't think. Let me see how long the Orioles still have him, but you'd still have him for a couple years. And then if you don't need him, he can still kind of stopgap for Woods and Hassel. So I think realistically, he doesn't reach free agency until 30. He has his first arbitration next year, which you could re-sign him for cheap just if you need a stopgap. If not, throw it Hassel out into the outfield and see how it goes. But he's probably the best option. It won't cost too much. He's not making a lot of money. I feel like that's the perfect option. Kyle Lewis would be great. However, we have seen how trades go with the Mariners. I'm not sure we want to do that again.
Yeah, this trade deadline is gonna be super fun. I think that my biggest thing with looking at last year and comparing last year to this year, because I also see that JDS says Padres only played 6 games against winning teams. They're 2-4 against those teams. Like any red flag field testing schedule starts now. So the Padres haven't played against any good teams at all really, and they've had a great record. They've had a hot start. They had a hot start last year, and you talk about the decline, the fall off, the swings and the misses at the trade deadline. To me, the biggest difference is that the pitching staff is entirely different than last year, where we were like immediately in May, you had Ryan Weathers in your rotation. Like we've seen what's happened to Ryan Weathers, and that completely fell apart last year. So the pitching staff is just so much better, and you have so much protection if there are injuries. If a Yu Darvish has a little bit of a back injury flare up, well, guess what? You can shut him down for a month or 2. It's not the end of the world. It's not like the sky is falling like last year. So I think the Padres probably feel like they have a little bit more leverage to go and try to make a big move. Whereas last year it was like, we don't have any pitching. We have all these issues. We don't have, we have a bad outfield where it was like, it felt like there was a lot more issues. So I think that's going to be the big difference this year. So I'm pumped for the trade deadline because I just want to see them make small moves. Get a couple complementary pieces to improve the lineup, rock with the starting rotation, and shoot for long-term success. Don't go and try to hit the home run. Now I say that, do I expect AJ Preller to go try and hit the home run? Yes, I do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
also think, what do you guys think about this? But I also feel like the reason why the Padres kind of have that tactic is because they've been in a market where a lot of people used to not go to Padres games. And they immediately go, okay, what's the difference? Like, oh, we're going to try to bring in high-profile names. We're going to bring in Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, and it is working out this year, but it hasn't worked out before. But, like, they went and they tried to go that route, and then immediately there's a bunch of ticket sales. So I think the thought process was swinging for the fences. I kind of wonder if that's not all Preller, but if that's also ownership being like, we don't want to go trade for Benintendi. We want to go trade for Juan Soto because Juan Soto sells tickets. I do wonder how much of a factor that has, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with this team in terms of that kind of stuff. But do you guys think that's why they go for big guys like that?
Yes. Yeah. Jersey sales, bobblehead nights, ticket sales, everything you can imagine is the reason they go after guys like Clevenger, Manny Machado, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. That is essentially every reason they do it. Not only that, of course, they help you win. I mean, that's a given, but in Eric Hosmer's case, that has not been a given. um, Other than that, though, yeah, I definitely, of course, that's why every team's going to go after the big name, and I just brought up somebody else just brought him up, Joey Gallo. I don't know if you guys saw it today. Um, they said Joey Gallo, and I know somebody in here is going to say, well, they're winning, so why would they trade him? Here's why. It would essentially be like the Sonny Gray trade, where they didn't work out for the Yankees. They're a good team, but that certain player is not working out, and they want to trade them because they're not working out, even if they're winning. That's basically the comparable. And they said, I did see the article. It said they think that Joey Gallo might be on the market because he's not producing the way they thought they would, in the sense that this would be similar to a Sonny Gray trade where they're just not producing. And even though the team is good, they just don't want them. So, I mean, get ready, bro, because Joey Gallo is going to be a Padre. Whether it's at this trade deadline or in the off season, Joey Gallo is going to be a Padre. So yeah, that's just, I don't know, man. Of course I'm not comfortable with that, but yeah, let's see how it goes. Of course we need outfield pieces. I really think just one outfielder makes an immense, crazy, astronomical difference. So we'll see who it is, because I do think it'll be somebody, and maybe even a catcher. Who knows?
I'm okay if we don't get a catcher. We need a left fielder. I mean, we can let Grisham struggle out there in center field as long as his defense is okay. But we can't have both our left fielder and center fielder in the same boat. Can't happen. We need either a legitimate center fielder or a legitimate left fielder. And as much as Preller loves Gallo, for the love of God, don't do it. I'm tired of seeing these Gallo trade rumors for the last 7 years of, oh my God, going to be a Padre. Oh my God. Have you seen him play left field recently for the Yankees? I remember watching it was just like 3-4 days ago. I sent it to the group chat. Gallo had a ball straight off the top of his glove that was completely catchable, and it went behind him, and it was like for a double. And then the next day, Gallo went 0-for-4 with 4 strikeouts. We already have enough guys in our lineup that do that. We don't need another one. For the love of God, don't do it. And also, you can say you want Nando, Acuna, Soto over Trout any day of the week, but realistically, if Trout was the same age as them, Trout routinely put up 10, 8.3, 9.3 WAR within his 20s. He put up a 10 WAR season at 20. Soto hasn't put up a 10 WAR in any of his time here. Stop disrespecting Mike Trout.
Chase, I love that you love Mike Trout so much. I don't think we've ever talked about him on the show, but I know
love
that
Mike Trout, bro.
when people
No,
started talking
he
about
is
Trout, I knew you were
arguably the
gonna get
best
riled up.
baseball player in history that we will ever get to see in our lifetimes, and we are currently disrespecting him. I will not take this.
He's amazing. I love Mike Trout, dude. I love Mike Trout. Yeah, at their ages, I'm not taking anybody over Mike Trout. I mean, what? There's no reason to. And of course, I see people bringing up playoff series and stuff, but I mean, baseball is like the sport where you can look at an individual player and say it's not their fault they're losing. Like they're
The Angels
performing in the way
organization the last 10 years haven't been good.
yeah, they're just not good. So, I mean, when
This
you're
is
the
the
only
only
player
year.
at the time, it was like this guy was like the only player in the lineup to worry about. They're not going to pitch around him. They're going to try pitching around him. They're going to try getting to the rest of the people. He's not going to get any good pitches, basically, and he still did something great with them. So, so he still did something great with them. So, I mean, he's essentially the best 5-tool player I've ever seen, and you can. Don't please. I hate when people say Babe Ruth is the best baseball player ever. That's got to stop. Anybody else you can try. Barry Bonds you can try, but
Ted Williams
you can, or Ken Griffey Jr. if you really like Ken Griffey Jr. But I don't think his numbers compare only because he's so electrifying. You know, you can make that comparison. But it's Mike Trout. Mike Trout's been. I mean, he's Mike Trout. Like that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I gotta ask you guys. So I gotta take off in a second. I gotta go get some food. I'm starving out here. But so we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up at the hour. We'll wrap up in like 4 minutes. But I was thinking about this. When you guys are looking at the AL, do you have any team that you're rooting for? Because we're talking about Mike Trout. I really want to see the Angels do well. I am actively rooting for the Angels to do well in the AL. I want to see it. Like I want to watch Trout and Ohtani in a playoff series so badly. I think that would be awesome. That was the first thing. Second thing, Isaac, you brought up Babe Ruth, and this made me think about this. And I'm in a safe space right now because this is not. Well, I guess Chase is here, but this isn't a Niners-oriented chat. But it's the same thing when people talk about Montana, dude.
Oh my
God, man!
I know.
Dude, I know. I saw a tweet a while back, and they were talking about quarterbacks, and someone quoted it, and it was like a random high school quarterback, right? And he's just out there just throwing ropes and ropes and ropes. And the quote tweet was like, any quarterback from the 1980s couldn't hang with these high school quarterbacks. And I was like, I don't think people get how good guys are at playing quarterback now. My top 3 quarterbacks is Brady, Manning, Rodgers. It is not Joe Montana. And 49er fans would absolutely rip me for this one.
Oh yeah.
Manning gets disrespected, man. Like he was so good. Like he is so good. And like, I don't know. It made me think about that. So I had to bring that up. And also I know I won't get extremely ripped by 49er fans. So I had to say that. But what do you guys think about the AL?
Yeah, so I'll just answer this question from JDS Third real quick. Yeah, I mean, especially after this Paddock trade, I don't know.
No. You cannot blame Preller for that. The Twins, everybody in baseball knew
Twins knew.
Paddock had a fucked up elbow. Everybody knew.
Everybody had to know. We took him out of there for a reason. Partially torn UCL was in the description. I mean, if you look at the price tag, you see right there, partially torn UCL. It was night and day, clear. And damn, is that trade working out? Because I love Taylor Rogers. And you guys know I loved Chris Paddock, but it's a lot easier to get rid of him when this dude's going out there and has 14, 15 saves already. Now, going back to the AL, I was looking at it right now.
I got 2 teams.
I got the Angels.
I know which 2 teams I'm going for.
I guess the Angels, and funny, I always go for the Astros.
You disgust.
I
used to go for the Astros. You disgust me now.
Oh,
I'm going for the Angels and the Blue Jays. I want to see Vladdy. I want to see Vladdy in the playoffs again.
Yeah,
and partially the Indians because the team is the Padres, basically.
That's true. That is true. The Cleveland Padres.
Yeah.
Also, Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna. I can blame a lot of teams for not Preller just because of the things he did in the past. Regarding the Colin Ray trade, the Drew Pomeranz trade. Though the Drew Pomeranz trade, that one's a little more finicky compared to the Colin Ray trade, where Colin Ray, I think, tore his UCL in his second start afterwards. And they were keeping the fact that he was taking ibuprofen, which is an anti-inflammatory, for his elbow, which they didn't document and send over. The Drew Pomeranz thing was a little different. It was regarding, I think, allergy medicine, but the whole Colin Ray one was definitely on Preller and the Padres. And that one, yeah, you could look at it and be like, yeah, this is why the rest of the league doesn't trade with them. But this last one is completely on the Twins. Paddock got shut down for like the last 2 months of the season with a partially torn ACL and got a PRP shot, which we have known doesn't work all that often, and still traded for him. So that's on the Twins.
Yeah, that was this conversation we're having. This is actually the only tweet I've ever deleted because I tweeted it and everyone's like, "You're wrong," and then I texted you guys and you guys were like, "Matt, you're wrong. You need to delete that tweet." But yeah, no, this one's definitely on the Twins because I feel like, dude, everyone knew about Paddock.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I think that we can bring up is it kind of weird that it's once again with AJ Preller because he's had a few things that have been weird. I think you can kind of bring it up, but I would still say everyone knew what was going on with Paddock. Like everyone knew he took the shot, so it's just like it's kind of tough. But I think that's probably gonna do it for today. But thank you guys for listening. We're going to talk about Soto again tomorrow. We already talked about him for like 10, 15 minutes today, but it's a fun conversation to have. We're going to do some mock-up trade proposals and that, but I think that's going to do it for today. So Padres win another series. They've won many, many series so far this year, but that's going to do it. So thank you guys for hopping in. It was a lot of fun. I do have to say, even though it was a fun Mike Trout argument, I do have to say that, or just discussing Mike Trout. It's always fun to do that stuff. So appreciate everyone hopping in, but we'll be back tomorrow talking about Soto. We'll have another episode out on Sunday, or on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're actually going to have a couple guests from another show, so that'll be fun as well for the live stream. But I think that's going to do it for today. So thank you guys for hopping in, and we'll talk to y'all very soon.